Hi guys, welcome back to the series of AWS CloudFormation for beginners. So in today's tutorial we are going to see how we can create a network ACL along with the inbound outbound rules and associate that specific inbound outbound rules with the subnet. That would be the public subnet. So as part of this tutorial, if you see as per the diagram, we are going to just create this subnet. The public subnet and the VPC is already been created. We are just going to create this subnet ACL. So this ACL will sit on top of the public subnet. So if you are new to this channel, or if you like the previous videos and you would like to see more videos coming on the same tutorial, I would request you to please make sure that you like, share and subscribe my channel. So let's go ahead and see what are the prerequisites based on which we are going to create our template. So the first prerequisite would be you have to install the CloudFormation extension. If you have not installed by any chance, don't worry. You can just refer this video. I will put the link of this specific video in the description above. The second prerequisite would be you have to make sure that there is a VPC and internet gateway already in place, because as a part of this NACL implementation, what we are going to do is we are going to associate this on top of the public subnet. So these two, that is the reason VPC and internet gateway is important, because we have to deploy a public subnet inside this VPC. So that would be the second prerequisite. If you have not watched this video, I will put the description of this videos above. So let's move to the next prerequisite. So the next prerequisite would be you have to make sure that there is a public subnet which is up and running. By any chance, if you have not created that, you can just refer to the video which I am mentioning in the description above. So guys, moving ahead to the diagrammatic representation of the implementation that we are going to do. So right now, as per the prerequisite, we would be having a VPC. That VPC would be having a main route table, and an internet gateway is created which is been associated to the specific VPC. The association of this internet gateway with the specific VPC signifies that the internet connectivity is unable within this VPC. Now, inside this VPC, we have launched a public subnet. Along with the public subnet, we also have a public route table and a public route. This public route associates the public subnet with the internet gateway route. So, by doing that, this public subnet is also having an internet connectivity. So now, what we are doing in this tutorial, we are assigning a network ACL. So access control layer. So we are providing access control layer on this public subnet, where we will limit the number of inputs and outputs inside this subnet ACL, which will sit on top of the public subnet. So let's go ahead and see what all components we would require as part of our template. So as a part of our template, we would be requiring two parameters. That would be our VPC ID and the public subnet that is already been created. And apart from the parameters, we also have to launch 4 resources. In these 4 resources, we will create a network ACL. Once the network ACL is created, then we will create an inbound and outbound rule for that network ACL. Once this inbound and outbound rule are created for this network ACL, this will be directly associated with the network ACL. After that, what we are going to do is we are going to associate this network ACL to the public subnet that is already been launched. So that's from the resource part. Now moving towards the output part. So in output part, what we are going to do is we are just going to provide the output of the resources that we have created. So if you see, we have 4 resources and we have 4 output over here. So guys, now as we know what all components we are going to use as part of our template. So let's jump to the Visual Studio Code and start coding our template. So let's create a new file. That would be ACL.yaml. I'll click on start. So over here, as we have seen, we won't require metadata. We won't require mappings and conditions. Now, as part of this practice, we are going to provide a description for this specific template. So after providing description, we will move ahead and we will start with the first parameter, double space. Then I will write VPC. Over here, I will select parameter VPC ID, and over here I will write custom VPC. Let's name it. Let's give a description over here. So after giving the description, so guys, over here we have to mention our default VPC. So To see what exactly current VPC do we have, let's go to our AWS console. In AWS console, if I go to CloudFormation, stacks. So in stacks, as you see, as per the prerequisite, we have a VPC, we have Internet Gateway, and we have a public subnet. So I will just click on VPC, I'll go to outputs, and I will just copy the VPC ID from the outputs over here. Now, our first parameter is ready. Now moving ahead to the second parameter. The second parameter will be public subnet. So we will write subnet and the parameter ID. Over here, I will mention public subnet and let's mention it. Now we are going to provide the public subnet ID over here. For that, I will again jump back to the console. In the console, this time I will click on public subnet. From outputs, I will take the output of public subnet. That is the public subnet ID. Once I take it, I will paste it over here. So guys, our parameters are in place as per our component list, which is custom VPC and public subnet. Now moving ahead to the resources. So over here, we are in resources now, double space, network ACL. Okay, it's not going for ACL. This so guys, as per my understanding, I don't think so there is support for this network ACL. Not an issue. What we will do, we will go to our best friend, that is the documentation, and over here I will write AWS CloudFormation network ACL. Over here I will just take the resource block for this specific network ACL. Let's copy it and paste it over here. Sorry, just paste. So over here, let's change the name of the network ACL to my NACL. Okay. So now in properties, let's go to the properties and see which is the required property over here. So guys, if you can see, VPC ID is compulsory. It is mandatory property. So if I go back over here, it is asking for VPC ID. So in VPC ID, what I can do is, first of all, I can remove this line and over here refer custom VPC. Okay. And in tags, I will mention name and over here I will mention the same. Okay. Now moving towards the next one. I guess it should be here. So let me copy this. Okay, now the indentation is correct. Now let's go ahead and write the inbound rule. Okay, so I don't think so. The inbound. Okay, so let's see if we have inbound rule over here. Inbound. City instance. No, so we don't even have the inbound rule over here. So no issues. Let's do one thing. Network ACL. This is entry. So if I click on this, so in property, what we can do is we can go ahead and use this. So in properties, you can see that there is AWS CloudFormation network ACL inbound route. So network ACL. So over here, you can see create network ACL. Over here, I will go into the network entries. So guys, what I will do, I will just go ahead and create an inbound rule over here. That is network ACL entry. As you can see, network ACL entry, we are going to use this resource. So let's use this resource over here. So over here I will use that resource. So the resource name would be inbound rule. Okay, and the property would be AWS EC2 network ACL entry. Now for network ACL entry, let's go to the documentation and check. Okay, so is there any properties which is required? Yes, network ACL ID is compulsory. So if I just search with this, you can see. So guys, you can see protocol is compulsory. After protocol, the rule action is compulsory. Okay, and the rule number is compulsory. So let's go back to our documentation. So in documentation, the first part is network ACL. So in network ACL, we will refer the network ACL that we have created over here. Okay, now let's keep the rule number. Let's go to the rule number. So rule number is whether to allow or deny traffic. While rules are allowed. So this is rule number. So rule number to assign to entries such as 100 ACL are processed in ascending order by the rule number. So we will keep it as 100. Now going to protocol. So in protocol, the IP protocol that the rule applies to, you must specify -1 or protocol number, or you can specify -1 for all protocols. So over here for protocol we will keep 6, for rule action we will keep allow, and for CIDR that we want to allow, we are going to keep this CIDR. Okay. Now the port ranges. Port range is not compulsory, but it is part of this property. So we are going to use the port range. This is the port range property. So the range of the port, that is UDP and TCP protocol. So we are using the port range of 22 and 22. Okay. Now going forward, so over here in this rule we have enabled the SSH. Now in another rule, what I am going to do is, and I am going to open the outbound. So for outbound we are going to use the same AWS EC2 network ACL entry. So let's create the outbound rule. In outbound rule, the same thing over here. I will just copy and paste it over here. So it will be referred as -CL. Protocol I have kept -1, egress as true. So this is going to be the egress one, and that is for the outbound rule. So for outbound rule, let me show you egress over here. So if you go to the example provided in the documentation, this is the inbound rule that we have used, and this is the outbound rule. Okay. So we have used the inbound rule and outbound rule. After doing that, what we are going to do is we are going to create our new resource that would be Subnet Network Association. Subnet double space Subnet. Okay. Associate. It should be Subnet. So guys, I think so this specific network subnet association to subnet, again this block is not available as part of our extension, that is CloudFormation extension. So let's go ahead and refer the documentation. So over here we are looking for subnet network ACL association. So I will go to the documentation. Over here I will mention AWS subnet network ACL association. So guys, you can see subnet network ACL association. As this resource was not available in our plugin, so we are going to pick it manually from here. So over here, if I go in properties, if you see subnet ID is compulsory, and network ID is compulsory. I will just copy this code block from here and I will paste it over here. So in this we have my subnet association. So the subnet ID would be the public subnet ID. We are going to refer it from here, and the network ACL would be the network ACL that we have referred over here. That is. So now let me just cut this over here. Again, I will paste. There was an indentation error over here, so I just corrected that. Now, as part of output, we are going to output all the resources that we have created. So I am not going to type it. We are just going to copy paste it in order to save time. So guys, let's re-verify based on our documentation. We have created two parameters, custom VPC and public subnet. If you can see it over here, that is custom VPC and public subnet. Now moving to resources, if I go, so we have created my NACL, inbound rule, outbound rule, and we have associated that NACL to the public subnet. So let's go and see. This is public subnet, this is the network ACL that we have created. Then we have created inbound rule for this network ACL, and it is associated with the network ID, as you can see over here. Then we have created outbound rule. Again, it is associated with the network ID, ACL ID that you can see. This is the same name, my NACL, and at the end we have associated this subnet ID with the network ACL. So let's save the file, guys, and let's move towards testing of this subnet. What I will do, first I will validate the template. So the template name is NACL. Let's see if we have any errors. So guys, we don't have any errors. So as we don't have any errors, what we have to do now, we have to move to the next part over here. First, we have to validate the template. So we have already validated the template by using this AWS CLI command. Now, the second step would be we are going to create the stack by using this AWS CLI command, which is AWS CloudFormation create stack name. Here we'll mention our stack name and the file name. So let's go ahead and do that. So I already have the command over here. I'm just going to change the name NACL, and over here again NACL. So guys, let's go ahead and enter. So the stack ID has been created. Now our create stack command is successful. Now after a few minutes, what we can do, we can run this describe stacks command, by using which we will understand what stack has been launched. So I will just clear this. Over here we only need, just we have to change this command, describe stacks. So guys, I will just go ahead and click on describe stack. Okay, so over here the stack is described. Over here you can see the stack name is NACL that we provide in our previous AWS CLI command to create the stack. The description of the template that we have provided in the description. There are two parameters, custom VPC and public subnet. Now the creation time, rollback configuration, and the outputs that we have added as part of this template. So if we are getting the describe command output, that means I'm sure that our subnet has been finished successfully. So let's do one thing. Now let's jump to the AWS management console and verify whether our stack is created successfully and implemented successfully. So I will just jump to our AWS CLI. So sorry, AWS CloudFormation console. So over here, I click on stacks. So in stacks, you can see our NACL stack is created. If I open it, I go to events. So there was no errors over here. Everything is created successfully. Now let's go and see resources. So if you see my NACL, inbound rule, outbound rule, and the subnet association is created. Now let's click on output, and you can see the 4 output is very well visible over here. Now as a part of parameter, we were having 2 parameters. So the CloudFormation template was successful. Now let me just go ahead and check via the VPC dashboard. So I will go to VPC. In VPC, I will go to network. We will go to Subnet, and Subnet we will go to public Subnet, and in public Subnet we can see the network ACL. So guys, as you can see, the network ACL is associated to this public subnet, and this is the network ACL. If you see over here, see guys. So under security, there is network ACLs. So over here, this is our network ACL, which is created successfully. So if I open this network ACL, this network ACL will show you the inbound routes. So if you can see, we have the inbound rule as 22, and we had allow for this. And for outbound rule, we have all traffic going. So you can see the allow rule is this, and the default deny rule is this. And the subnet association, if you can see, this is associated to the public subnet. So our verification is successful. Let's move to the next step. So the very important step is, guys, once you are done with the testing of the stack that you are trying to create on your personal account, make sure you delete it. Otherwise, you would be built for the resources which is being used in the background. So to do that, it's very simple. Go back to your CloudFormation stack, click on stacks, select your stack, and click on delete. So that's it for this session, guys. In case of any queries or questions, don't forget to mention that into the comments. I will try my level best to answer your queries. Thank you for joining the session, guys. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.